Imagine the most powerful man in the world not sleeping, not because of war, not because of enemies at the gate, but because of his own thoughts. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, is sitting alone in his tent. Outside soldiers whisper that the fate of the empire depends on him. Inside his mind is screaming, what if I fail? What if Rome falls because of me? What if history remembers me as the emperor who lost everything? For a moment, the weight is too much. The empire, the expectations, the fear of the future, the regret of past mistakes, it all crashes on his chest like a mountain. But then he does something strange. He takes a breath, picks up a wax tablet, and writes, if it is not in my control, it is not allowed to control my mind. That single decision didn't just save his night. It helped him survive a lifetime of pressure. And if it worked for the Emperor of Rome, it might be exactly what you need when life hurts. Part 1. Why life hurts more than it should. Let's be honest. Life today is safer than ever in history, yet mentally many of us feel like we're losing a war we can even see. You don't wake up to the sound of invading armies. You wake up to notifications, a message that never came, an email with "we regret to inform you," a bank alert that makes your stomach drop. You go to bed exhausted, but your brain refuses to shut up. You replay conversations, the thing you said in that meeting, the moment you froze instead of speaking up, the text you sent left on seeing no reply. You fast forward into the future. What if I never make enough money? What if no one truly chooses me? What if I'm still stuck here 5 years from now? Your body is lying in a safe room, but your mind is running simulations in a burning building. You're not just dealing with one problem, one moment, one version of reality. You're dealing with 10 imagined futures, 15 regrets from the past, and a present that's never allowed to be good enough because you keep comparing it to a life you should have had by now. Marcus Aurelius knew this feeling, just in a different costume. Instead of, what if I lose my job, he had, what if I lose my empire? Instead of, what if people judge me online? He had, what if senators betray me behind closed doors? Instead of, what if this person leaves me? He had, what if my own generals turn against me? Different era, same human mind. And still in the middle of war plague and political chaos, Marcus wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. This is where it stings, because that means it's not the message that hurts the most. It's the story you tell yourself about what it means. It's not the unpaid bill alone. It's the voice that says you're a failure. You'll never get out of this. It's not aging or heartbreak or rejection by themselves. It's the judgment my life is over. It shouldn't be this way. Life hurts more than it should because you've given your estimation, your evaluation, your judgment, the power of a God. You don't just experience life. You interpret it in the harshest way possible and then punish yourself for that story. The Stoics are not here to tell you your pain doesn't matter. They're here to tell you something much more uncomfortable. You're adding extra pain that you don't have to carry. And that's the wound this video wants to heal. Part 2. The Stoic Reversal. Training what you care about. Here's the part Marcus would say gently but directly. It's not that life is too cruel. It's that your care is untrained. You care like this. You care more about being liked than being honest. You care more about never failing than becoming stronger. You care more about appearing successful than actually being at peace. You're not weak. You're just pouring your care in all the wrong directions. Think about it. You care intensely about what someone typed in 3 seconds, but almost never about the story you repeat in your head for 3 years. Being perfect in front of strangers, but not about showing up consistently for yourself. Gaining control over events, but not about gaining control over your reactions. And then you wonder why everything feels so fragile. Marcus Aurelius lived in a role where everyone expected him to care about everything. Trade crops, wars, politics, marriages, alliances, public opinion. If a storm ruined the grain supply, people blamed him. If a battle was lost, they blamed him. If a plague spread, they blamed him. If he cared about all of that, in the same way, he would have shattered. So he made a different move. He divided his life into 2 worlds. 1. The world of fortune, things outside his control. 2. The world of character, his judgments, his actions, his principles. and he decided fortune can do what it wants. My character is mine. This is the Stoic reversal. It's not care less about life in general. It's care fiercely about your character and train yourself to care less about the rest. Life doesn't become easier when you finally arranged it to be perfect. That's a fantasy. Life becomes easier when you stop giving God-level importance to every opinion, every setback, every unpredictable twist of fate. The chaos outside doesn't have to be your chaos inside, but that requires training. It requires a tool, a way to practice this every day. That's where Marcus' mental technique comes in. Part 3, the one life filter. Think of your attention like a spotlight in a dark theater. Right now, your spotlight is wild. One moment it's on something someone said 10 years ago. Next moment it's on a financial disaster that hasn't happened yet. Then it swings back to the one mistake you made this morning. No wonder your mind is dizzy. Marcus Aurelius used his attention differently. He narrowed the spotlight. He asked over and over, what belongs to me in this moment? What is truly my life to live right now? And we'll call that mental habit the one life filter. In every situation you run this filter. Is this part of the one life I can actually live and act in now? Or is it just a ghost from the past or a fantasy of the future? Now let's walk this filter through the future, the past, and the present. The future, stop living inside shadows. Picture this. You're at work. Laptop open, document in front of you. From the outside, it looks like you're working. But inside, you've already been fired, lost your apartment, been judged by your parents, gone through 3 imaginary arguments where you prove yourself to people who aren't even in the room. Your heart rate goes up because your mind is living in a movie where everything goes wrong and you're forced to watch it on repeat. Seneca wasn't being poetic when he said we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. He was issuing a diagnosis. Marcus goes further and gives a prescription. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Here's how the one life filter works with the future. A fear appears. What if my relationship ends? What if the market crashes? What if my health suddenly fails? You pause and ask, is this in the one life I can act in today, or is it in a life that does not exist yet? If it is not happening now, it does not get to rule your nervous system. You don't pretend it's impossible. You just refuse to live it twice, once in imagination and once in reality. So you shift the question from what if everything collapses to what can I do today that would make me more prepared, more resilient, more grounded, no matter what happens. That might look like saving a small percentage of what you earn, learning to live with less status and more freedom, taking care of your body before it screams at you, practicing calm now so future storms don't scare you as much. The future stops being a horror movie and becomes a training partner. You're no longer living inside shadows. You're building the kind of person who can walk through them. The past, freeing yourself from ghost chains. Now let's talk about the past. Some nights the past doesn't just knock. It breaks the door open. You remember the friend you betrayed or who betrayed you, the deal you ruined, the love you lost because of fear or pride, the version of you who was as wise as you are now. And you punish that younger version of yourself with the knowledge you only gained because of those mistakes. That's like yelling at a child for not knowing the answer to a question they were never taught. Marcus Aurelius had a choice. He could have sat in his tent and thought, if only I had made different military decisions, if only I had chosen different people to trust, if only I had controlled every outcome. He didn't. Instead, he wrote, it's unfortunate that this has happened. No, it's fortunate that this has happened and I have not been broken by it. The one life filter applied to the past looks like this. A memory comes up. I should have never married that person. I should have seen the red flags. I should have saved more money. You breathe and you ask, is this something I can still act on now in the one life I have today? Or is this a chapter that's already written? If it is already written, then obsessing over it is not responsibility. It's a subtle form of self-harm. The Stoic options are: 1 point, extract the lesson. What did this teach you about people, money, trust yourself? 2, express the regret, once then release it. You might journal it, confess it, make amends if possible, but then you stop feeding it your daily energy. You can still honor your past without letting it drag chains around your ankles every morning. A powerful reframe. From "I ruined everything" to "that version of me made mistakes so that this version of me could see more clearly." The only real mistake now is refusing to use that clarity. You don't owe the past constant attention. You owe it transformation. The present turning pain into practice. And now we arrive at the only place you will ever actually live this breath. This day, this moment. Marcus wrote, "Man lives only in the present. All the rest is either past and gone or not yet revealed." The present is where life hits hardest. Your partner says something that cuts deep. Your boss shames you in front of others. A diagnosis comes back with words you didn't want to hear. The bank balance is lower than your fear. Most people do one of two things. They explode anger, blame, drama, or they implode numbness, withdrawal, silent despair. Stoicism offers a third option. Use the pain as practice. Marcus saw every difficult moment as a small arena where he could train his virtues: patience when people were unfair, courage when outcomes were uncertain, temperance when pleasures were tempting but empty, justice when it would have been easier to be selfish. With the one life filter, you ask right now in this exact situation, what kind of person do I choose to be? Not how do I make this disappear immediately, but how do I show up in a way that I will respect a year from now? Maybe that means you remain calm when someone else loses control. You tell the truth even if your voice shakes. You take responsibility for your part without taking blame for everything. You choose one small discipline action instead of drowning in self-pity. This is where care less changes, meaning you care less about having a perfect day. You care more about becoming a stronger person. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? You start asking, how can I use this? That's the point where the present moment stops being only a torture chamber and becomes a training ground. Marcus didn't trust fortune. He didn't trust tomorrow. He didn't trust the crowds, but he did his best to trust something else. The part of himself that could still choose honesty, courage, self-control, kindness, no matter what was happening. That part lives in you too. You just have to practice letting it lead. Part 4, care less, live deeper. So what does it really mean to care less when life hurts? It does not mean becoming numb, pretending nothing matters, using philosophy as an excuse to avoid feeling. In Marcus Aurelius' world, caring less was an act of precision, not coldness. He learned to reorganize his care. Less care for reputation, more care for integrity. Less care for controlling outcomes, more care for showing up well in the process. Less care for who stays or leaves, more care for whether he loved and acted with justice while they were there. For you, care less, live deeper might look like caring less about whether everyone approves of you and more about whether you approve of your own behavior. Caring less about never feeling discomfort and more about building a mind that can hold discomfort without breaking. Caring less about, did today look successful, and more about, did today move me one step closer to the person I want to be? The moment you start shifting your care like this, you'll notice something subtle. The same problems are still there. The unpaid bill, the complicated relationship, the uncertain future. But you are different. You are no longer begging life to be gentle before you agree to be strong. You are becoming strong so that you can handle life as it is. That's the quiet revolution Stoicism offers. It doesn't promise your life will stop hurting. It promises something better. Your life will stop owning you. When you stop feeding every fear, every regret, every what if with your full attention and emotional energy, you begin to feel something that Marcus Aurelius spent a whole lifetime writing toward: a steady center. Not a perfect life, not a constant high, but a stable, grounded awareness that says, whatever comes, I will meet it with the best in me. That is what it means to care less about what you cannot control and more about the one thing you always can, who you choose to be. If this message found you at the right time, I want you to do one small thing. Comment one word: calm, not just for the algorithm, but as a promise to yourself that from today on, you'll start caring less about what you can control and more about the person you're becoming. And if you want more Stoic tools like this, subscribe to Making Life Better, so the next time life hurts, you'll have philosophy beside you, not panic.